Angela here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome back to another Sunday chat. I bet y'all thought I forgot about y'all. Y'all wouldn't know. Y'all wouldn't know. Y'all wouldn't know. Y'all don't know it's 6:09 p.m. and I'm just cracking this camera open to talk to y'all, to chat with y'all, because today has been like a full day. It's Saturday. It's Saturday, June 14th. Yes, I'm in my rug because when I'm done with this, I am getting in the bed. And yes, I just got out of the shower. Technically, I got out of the shower and then I wanted to make a TikTok video response to someone asking me about my career, which is what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Not exactly. I'm going to be responding to a question, and this time I saved it. So I'll put it on the screen. But I'm going to respond to a question that I got on last Sunday chat for this Sunday chat. So it says, hi Angela, how do you balance professionalism and lifestyle blogging? I appreciate the vulnerability you display in your vlogs. I would love to vlog, but I get nervous about coworkers or my leadership team finding my channel and using it against me if I express my opinions and POV. And I said, I got you. This is gonna be next week's Sunday chat. Boy, do I have a story for you. But more about the TikTok that I just posted. So for the last almost 2 years, like, career talk has been off the table. One, because I don't think I have anything motivational to say to people. I am not a careerist. I have not been a careerist for the last 10 years. I have a video already on Sunday chat about not being a careerist. And essentially that's just, I have no desire to climb a corporate ladder, to, you know, rise to a leadership role. I am in a senior position and I've been in a senior position for the last decade. And once I got to a senior position, I was like, that's fine. Like, there are opportunities for me to move into a manager position and be an individual contributing manager. And when the time comes that I find a job where it aligns with what I'm looking for as it relates to like pay, the role, work-life balance and stuff like that, then I'll pivot. But the only way that I would ever move into a manager position is that it is an individual contributing one, meaning I'm managing projects or systems or something like that. I am not managing people. So again, I'm not a careerist. And here's the thing, I feel like organizations need that. So I'm not afraid to like say that online and am worried about a future employer like seeing this, or my current employer seeing this and think I'm not serious about the work. Organizations need people to stay stationary in positions. They need workhorses. They need people that are going to come, like, live in positions, do good work. There's a proper term for this. I can't think of it off the top of my head right now, but people like me that are interested in being in a role and really building it out and, you know, living in it are needed, because people are so ambitious and they're looking for like their next thing, which I think is also great, right? There's no good way to like exist in your career. You just do what's best for you. But the reason that I haven't talked about, like, I don't even mention my job. My current employer is not linked on my LinkedIn. So like, if you go on my LinkedIn right now, it has what I do, like it has the job role, but like my current organization is not linked. And it's because I had an issue with work and posting on social media, which we'll get to. But I was saying to the young lady on TikTok today, because she asked me, I mentioned in a previous video that I have a master's in organizational leadership. Right now there's some discourse going on TikTok where there's this young man, his name is Justin something. I don't follow him, but he does come down my For You page. Sometimes I engage with his content, sometimes I don't. It just depends on, you know, if he catches me in the first, I don't know, 30 seconds, right? Because he does have really long videos. Not all of them are as engaging as some. And so, or, you know, not all of them are subject matter that I care to consume. So I just keep it moving. But I have engaged with this content before. And so you know, he's going viral because people are like, he uses ChatGPT, those aren't his original ideas, you know, and like a big point of contention for people is the fact that they're like, he's reading off notes, he's reading off notes, he's reading off notes. And look, you can feel a way about him using ChatGPT and, you know, feel like he doesn't, you know, have his thoughts on original. I get all of that, but I made a video to say, the point that y'all making about him reading off of notes, y'all can take that off of the list, because as a person who is like, I have a bachelor's degree in speech communications, I have a master's degree in organizational leadership, I work in corporate training, I have worked in different capacities of corporate training for the last 15 years. That's essentially talking to people. As a person that has a degree, I'm degreed in talking, and I am careered in talking. I'm telling you, there is absolutely nothing wrong with using notes. 15 years into my career, anytime I have to facilitate something, I'm using notes, right? If I have to give a presentation, I'm using notes. Like, it just is what it is. And I implore you, because I had somebody in my comments say, you know, I just go off the top of my dome. You may think you killing it, but I promise you, more often than not, you're probably coming off disorganized. You're not completing thoughts, right? So notes are really good to like keep yourself honest. I say keep yourself honest, and that just means making sure that you're hitting all of the points that you want to hit in your, you know, training or your presentation or whatever you're doing. And then it's also to keep you on track, so you're not going off on a tangent and losing your audience, right? So notes are, and it's and also keeping you honest in that you're speaking facts. Like, you are speaking facts, and you're not just trying to pull things out of your memory, because sometimes our memories fail us. So notes are your friend. So I made that video to say that, and then that's where the question came from a young lady who is also studying organizational leadership, and she was asking me like, how does that area of study like help me in my career and in, you know, content creating. And so I made a video and I talked a little bit about both of my degrees working in tandem, speech comm and organizational leadership, where with speech comm, I have a speech degree, right? So I took a bunch of advanced speech classes. Most people are petrified of public speaking. Girl, I don't care, right? But as it relates to skill, there were a bunch of areas of study within my degree that I don't think people think of when they think about like speech, right? I took poetry classes, I took creative writing classes, I took forensics classes, which is like a combination of like speech and debate and acting and all of that. I've taken comedy classes. Like, I've taken all of these like modalities of like expressive communication to be able to do what I do. And so that helps me at work when I am trying to create engaging learning content for people, or if I am in a classroom facilitating and I'm having to keep people's like attention and keep them engaged. And it helps me on here, right? Because I know how to tell a good story, right? Now my personality, that's from God, you know, which is what I said. Like, I didn't get that from my degree, but the skills, both technical and creative, that I picked up from my education helps me, right, disseminate my personality like in a way online that people really enjoy. I can tell y'all the same story 10, 20, 30, 40 times, and I can tell it to you in a different way depending on the context around why the story is being told. It's the same story. I done told it to you 30 different ways, right? But it's still the same story, same details, same everything. It just depends on the context of why I'm telling the story, where the inflection, where the exaggeration, where the, like, you know, the wham bam comes from. So anyway, back to this question. So back when I first started creating content, I started strictly like fashion and lifestyle and that type of stuff. So I started just, you know, doing vlogs, dating vlogs and things like that. And so something that I would do all the time is like a day in my life. And so I would do day in my life videos on like work days and stuff like that. Here's the kicker. If you know me, you know I'm up at 4 o'clock a.m. This has always been my schedule, right? This isn't something that's new. You know, I'm not influenced by the girls online, I have always been an early riser. So I would like get up in the morning, do my workouts, all of that type of stuff, and I would film my routine. So let's say I'm doing like a day in the life video and it's a work day. So I'm at the gym at 4, I'm at home by 6, I take my shower by 7. So I go through the entire routine of like logging into my computer, typing on it like I'm doing work, and it ain't even time to work yet. And then I would edit those videos together and then you know, do a vlog or whatever, and do a voiceover. And in the voiceover I would just make it be real time. But I've actually, some of that shit I would record on the weekends but mainly it would not actually be through work hours. But when I was doing like the voiceovers and stuff, I would tell the story as if it was like real time. That came back to bite me in the ass. Something else is that I am 100% remote. Well, there's a difference, right? I work from home, I'm not remote, right? And in my organization, there's a difference, right? So I work from home 100%, but I am required to be in Chicago unless I have approval to do so, right? Whereas people that are 100% remote, they can work from anywhere. Well, when I first started working at this organization, everybody was working like, you know what I'm saying? I thought it was a part of like team culture that it didn't matter because everybody was doing it. So I didn't think it was a big deal. I wasn't trying to like be sneaky or hide anything like that. Like literally the time before the incident happened, or one of the reasons the incident happened is because I was in Miami working. And so I did the same thing that I do when I'm at home. I got up early, pre-filmed some content, like a day in the life, whatever the case may be, like way before I started work. And I was an hour ahead in Miami or whatever than Chicago. So I had ample time to like go down. I went down for like early when the bar opened. I filmed like a video. I got a glass of champagne for like a mimosa, and I filmed a video, and I took my work laptop down there and I was acting like I was working, but I wasn't really. So when I put the clips together, like I made it seem like a working lunch or something like that. But again, like I said, I wasn't trying to be sneaky. Like, as a matter of fact, on that trip, I had a meeting. And in the meeting, I remember specifically saying, oh, I'm in Miami. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm in Miami. I'm in the working center within the hotel. And, you know, me and my teams were like, team was like joking, like, oh, I'm so jealous. I wish I was in Miami. Da-da-da. So, like, I wasn't doing nothing sneakily because I didn't think I was doing anything wrong. So there was an incident where someone ran across my content on TikTok, and it was reported to HR. And it was reported to HR as if I was creating content on company time, and that I essentially was making money on company time, whatever the case may be. So I ended up getting suspended. Like, I ended up getting suspended from work while they did an investigation of like my socials and stuff like that. So ultimately I didn't end up getting fired. I was able to actually produce, like, I keep everything either on like an external hard drive or on my phone. Most of my TikTok content I record on my cell phone. And so I had, specifically from that Miami incident, because that was brought up, like, oh, you were drinking on the job, like, listen, tea. So I still had that content in my phone, so I was able to send them clips from my iPhone to show them that all of that shit was pre-recorded, right? And then I just put it together, and then, you know what I'm saying? So nothing on social media is as it seems, my dear. So that really helped me, right? Keeping a record of the things that I record really helped me, because in that respect I was able to prove, like, actually I wasn't drinking on the job, and I actually wasn't filming content on the job. I was doing all this shit before work, after work, and on the weekends, and just posturing it as if like this is a lifestyle content, right? I thought I was being smart, right? I'm gonna be honest with you, I really thought I was being smart or whatever, because I wasn't actually doing anything wrong, whatever the case may be. You know, it is what it is. The rules are the rules. I try and keep work completely separate from my content, right? I made that video today, but I typically wouldn't even do that. I wouldn't posture myself as some sort of expert on anything, because I don't want people asking me anything about what I do. I don't want people trying to go look up nothing I do. I literally try to keep work separate from what it is that I do. Also, there was just a natural pivot in my content to where I started leaning more into what I think my purpose is in the first place, is, you know, what I'm doing now. More cultural commentary, you know, not necessarily lifestyle like morning routines, but more of like commentary around lifestyle and things like that. And so it sort of pivoted me away from work even being a topic of discussion outside of, like, you know, the videos that I was telling you, or the TikTok videos I was telling y'all that I made earlier today. As it relates to opinions and things like that, I'm not gonna shy away from talking about the things that are important to me. I do make sure that in my content that people know that my opinions are my opinions on my own. And also, I don't get on the internet and say like crazy stuff, right? I can get on the internet and say, I think that our current president is a fascist and he's running a fascist regime. I don't think anything is wrong with that. That's my opinion. I'm going to say that. I said it the other day on the internet, right? I don't think that that is a reflection of my organization. Those are public government officials. I am allowed to have opinion about people that are running the country in which I live in. Now, if I got on the internet and said something like, our current president and his government and everybody that voted for him, then, right? So I shy away from that. I talk about the people that I have, what I feel like 100% right to talk about. Government officials are not off limits, right? But I would never, I have thoughts, right? But I wouldn't get on there and start lumping, you know, all people that voted for Trump or like Republicans. Like, I wouldn't go on a tirade about that, because then somebody at my job could see that video and take offense to it because they maybe are a Republican or whatever the case may be. So there's a fine line, and you just really have to know how to toe it. Also, as it relates to like other inappropriate things, baby, one thing about Angela, she don't like to be embarrassed. So you don't have to worry about me getting on the internet and doing, like, it's personal standards and personal integrity at the end of the day. So F my job, right? F my job. I'm very cognizant of things that I post because I have a certain level of standard for how I carry myself and I operate, right? I know people like to say, I don't care what people think about me. I do. It is important to me that I am presenting myself as who I am, and people are picking up what I'm putting out. That shit is important to me. But outside of that, I have sisters, I have nieces, I have nephews, I have family, right? And it is important to me that I'm also representing them. So like, my job is like the lowest on the totem pole, like, of who I care about when I'm thinking about how I'm presenting myself online. The fact of the matter is, people are going to find you. People at my job have found me. I've had people say, I saw you on TikTok. Da, 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 da. It's bound to happen. Like, you're not going to be able to like hide from that unless you make your pages private, right? Unless you privatize your page. The way the algorithms work, you know, it's likely that somebody is going to see you. But I feel like if you're operating out of your personal standards, then you don't have anything worried about unless you have piss poor standards, which I don't think that you do. So I don't really think that you have anything to worry about. And I think there is an art, and I think there's a good art and a balance between being authentic and oversharing. And I think you have to decide what that is for you, and then, you know, toe that line very finely. It's not easy. Something else that I do is I will film a video, especially on TikTok, and I don't immediately post after I film stuff. I put it in the drafts. I give it some hours, sometimes some days. I'll go back and look at it. There is so much stuff that I film that I don't post. I end up deleting, and I delete it because I don't want to maybe be, you know, backed up and not have any content like filmed and just post something just to have something to post. I delete it because either there's not enough context, there's not enough nuance, there's too much room for people to make assumptions about what I'm saying, and I get rid of it, right? So that's what I mean about like figuring out what that line is and putting boundaries and buffers around it, bitch. So you're not towing it, and like that's one of mine for me. But as far as like my personality and, you know, all of that type of stuff, I'm not really into like the respectability politics of it all as it relates to like my appearance and, you know, how I talk and, you know, things like that. Like, I'm just not gonna do it. I talk at work like I talk to y'all. Now, when I am presenting or I am facilitating a training or something like that, yes, I put on my corporate voice. Like, it just is what it is. But if I'm in a meeting, I'm talking like this. I'm making jokes. I'm whatever the case may be, right? And so I don't think that the person that my coworkers see online is very different than the person that they experience at work. And so I don't think it's that big of a jump scare, right? When they see me, you know, on TikTok cracking jokes or maybe dropping a curse word or like, you know, something like that, because that tracks. That tracks. So hopefully that helps. Know your company policies. Go look at your company policies, because a lot of companies have started updating their policies around social media. Make sure you know what yours is, right? And then create content accordingly. I personally say you could create lifestyle content without ever mentioning your job. If you can, leave your job out of it, right? Now, any like day in my life vlogs, anything like that, because I do still do them, baby, they are 5 to 9 after 9 to 5, or 5 to 9 before my 9 to 5, or weekend. I don't do nothing between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Now, do I post videos? Yes, I post a video at 8 o'clock, at 10 o'clock, at 3 o'clock, and then whatever, depending on how many videos I have to post a day. But all of those videos were recorded the day before or the morning before I started working, or after I log out work, especially now because it's daylight until like 8 p.m. Between 8 and 5, I ain't doing none of that. I'm not doing nothing, baby, because I didn't already touch the hot stove once. You ain't gotta worry about me. You do not gotta worry about me. One thing I can't afford to do is lose my good job during this time. Like, I just cannot do it. So again, hopefully that helped. If you have any more questions, let me know. Drop them in the comments, or maybe we could do a part 2. I know I always say that and we never do a part 2, but nobody ever asks for a part 2. But if you have something that you want me to expound on even more, we could do a part 2. We can. But again, hopefully that helps. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I will check y'all in the next Sunday chat. Bye.